Papa P in the house.
Papa P in the house. Listen,
Happy Friday.
I want to happy Friday, finger gun Friday. Shooting shit down today. Shooting shit down. You know what we're gonna shoot down to start is that music. I want to.
It wasn't. You didn't like it?
Our viewers that was painfully introduced to our slow jazz music, but I want to give props to John because John has made this look professional. For those of you following from week 1, where we had no logo or background, to now we have a background and an introduction. Well done, sir.
Just need some music change and we'll be good.
Yeah, and for anyone that thinks any of this was easy, you'd be mistaken. The amount of choices we've all had to make on colors, logos, music. And people always want to jump into business or start new things. They never understand how much work goes behind it. And this was one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's been fun setting it up though. You know, I think every week we have something to improve upon. So next week will be the music. So come back for better music next time.
Come back for better music. Always the same good conversation.
Absolutely.
The music will be better.
Yes, it will.
And you get to look at this all the time. Right.
Who wouldn't show up for that?
I know, that's what I'm saying. My mom tells me I'm the most beautiful boy in the world, so, you know, it's got to be true. Got to be. Anyway, topic of conversation today, guys. Ethics.
I like it. Let's do it.
John, you were saying prior to our slow jazz introduction that at the Carrot Summit, which was phenomenal, by the way, I did not catch all 2 days worth of Carrot Summit, but you better believe
12 hours of streaming.
And loyal Carrot user, I was there for that Carrot Summit on and off on both days. Yes. Phenomenal topics stuff. As always, and if you didn't know, it was always free. That makes it the best thing ever, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of great content. I don't know how to. I feel like I should know this, but I don't know how you can watch it if you missed it. You can purchase the recordings somehow.
YouTube.
I went and looked this morning. I didn't see it there.
I was watching it live, so I don't. Because when I was on YouTube, I found it live and I was watching it.
Yeah, I think it had it live, but you can't like go back and watch the live again. You got to purchase the recordings, which is still a phenomenal deal. I think it's like, I don't know, I want to say $200, $300 for the recordings.
Well worth it.
Worth it.
All the talent on there, from Pace Morby to Max Maxwell. I mean, everybody on there, big hitters, everybody.
I was on there. Like, why would you not want it? Carlos is on there.
You guys were on there. Big announcement from you. Announcement.
Yes, we can officially say now that Investor Fuse has been acquired by Carrot. Woo!
He has successfully sold his tech company to one of the biggest and best companies in real estate, Carrot Company. Is that how
Second company sold.
Company sold. Damn. Hey, not everyone can say that. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. Now it's official.
It is official. It's exciting. Not much has changed at Investor Fuse other than, having a great parent company. We have all the same employees, and I'm still here, so and we'll remain here.
And our colors have orange in them, so there you go. Although we're not affiliated right now with Carrot, we still pay homage. What is it? Paying homage to Carrot.
That's right. Yeah. We're our own little thing, with people from Investor Fuse and people from Lakeland.
That's how you announce me. I'm from Lakeland. You don't need to know where that's at.
That's all you need to know.
You were saying, bringing it full circle, that at Carrot Summit you guys had a conversation on ethics, correct?
Yeah, I was not a part of it, but I did see it on there, and it did remind me of you because we have chatted many, many times about how ethics is a problem. More people should learn it. More people should be aware of it. And yeah, I think it'd be fun to talk about. But it looks like you're frozen, Papa P. It's not much talking. There you go. He's back now. Is he back?
Okay,
Can he hear us?
That was just me frozen. Gotcha.
That was just you. You're the lucky one there.
Let it go.
But you were saying ethics. It reminded me of you because we've had this conversation many times over the years about ethics in the community, specifically the newer people entering into the industry and how they should, maybe they don't need a license from the government, but they should be required to take an ethics course.
I think more importantly, all gurus should be required inside their $500
There you go.
$9.99 course include a
That's a
little
better way to
ethics,
do
and
it.
you can show what it is. Sadly, as we talked about last week, some people don't have the bandwidth or experience to truly talk about ethics before they actually get in and make a course or host masterminds, because that just seems to be a thing now. But yeah, right, like some type of ethics saying, and not so much, and again, we're not so, and I do think there needs to be ethics towards the seller, but just inter-industry ethics of how to do things.
Yeah.
And without that experience of having been fucked over a couple times, like you don't really know what ethics should be, and having to make that. I've been in positions where you have to make that decision. Do I do this for the money? What does that do to me as like a person morally and ethically, like my soul? You know, what does it do to my soul? And then like, do I move forward with this, and how important is it? You know, and that's the biggest thing. Is not so much when it happens to you, but when you make that choice of to do or not to do. Right.
I always like to tell my kids, they're still all pretty young, but you need to be able to put your head down on the pillow at night and be happy with all the choices that you made during the day.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah. Trying to ingrain that in them early, so when they become a wholesaler.
Yes, that is every parent's dream for their kids to wholesale real estate and steal old people's equity. Let's do it. My dad always used to say, character is what you do when no one's watching, which is the same thing, right? And he instilled that in me. I mean, I hated it as a kid. I'm like, what does that even fucking mean? I don't even understand that. It makes zero sense if no one's watching. What does it matter? As you get older, you understand the concept. But the reason why I was talking about this is I'm sure we all have numerous points on this. So I was talking to somebody, and two things actually. I was actually reviewing somebody's course, and in the course they had a little ethics conversation about how to dispo deals properly. And then coincidentally, a couple days later, I was talking to somebody who was explaining their need to start to double end deals. And I was having a conversation with them about double closing deals versus assigning. And I was like, when you double close a deal, you're going to have double the fees. And it's hard sometimes to push those front side fees. And double closing, if you don't know, is having an A to B and a B to C without assigning it. Like instead of doing A to C, you're doing an A to B transaction, a front side, closing it, then funding your B to C side to your end buyer, right? And you're the B in the middle as a wholesaler, effectively. Well, you still have A side closing costs, and it is hard to push those on to the buyer because that doubles their closing costs and it just adds to all their stuff. So it becomes expensive. Well, people do it because either A, they got a big assignment fee, or I guess in this case, they were explaining to me they're doing it because when they JV with people, when you JV, you get to see the buyer, you see the HUDs, the name. Sometimes you're included on emails. People were stealing their buyers. So just think about that for a second. Here you are, magnanimous, and I'm going to use the word magnanimous, helping out, I'm going to use lower end too, a lower end wholesaler, because you wouldn't necessarily need to steal somebody's shit if you had your own buyers. You're helping this person out who can't sell this deal. And in payment, you're getting 50, 60, 70%, whatever the terms are. But then you got this guy steals your effing buyer and goes around you. So they're starting to double close, so that way other newbie, because they want a JV. I mean, it's a whole revenue stream, right? Like, why not? But now they're taking on these extra costs because people are stealing. You can't trust who your partners.
All right, walk me through the situation because I'm still a little confused. And maybe it's my lack of knowledge. But hey, maybe somebody could benefit from this. Okay, so the person that you were talking with got the deal, right? They worked with the seller and had the contract.
Yep.
Okay, and then so they're turning around and they were doing it via assigning, and so they would go and find the buyer?
Yeah, so basically what happens is this. So let's say Carlos is a big shot in Maryland, right? Baltimore. He's got all the connects, and I get a deal up in Baltimore. I go, hey, Carlos, why don't you help me do this? And for that, you can either get 30% or 50% of the assignment fee. We'll split it. Common is 50-50. Okay. Carlos says, yeah, man, I could push this all day. So basically what happens is I'm like the acquisition guy, and he becomes my dispo arm. I bring that deal to him after I open up title and most of the time get photos and stuff and say, here you go, market this to your buyers because I don't have any in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's great because it opens up the ability for a lot of people to do deals virtually without having the need to find buyers. And plus, Carlos is the big shot in Maryland. So he's got VIPs, people making offers sight unseen, people who trust him and his advice.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm using that of him, and in return, value is dollar, dollar exchange.
Right.
Well, when you assign it, when Carlos goes and assigns it to somebody, there's many ways to do it. One of which is it's a double assignment, or I assign the actual assignment with his buyer, one of two.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's a double assignment, what happens is when you go to the title company and you're reviewing HUDs, the name of the buyer is on the closing statement. And some of
Okay.
the times, because you're partners, title doesn't understand not to include both companies on an email with the buyer. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you could get included on an email. I could get included on an email with Carlos's buyer. So what was happening effectively was, as soon as I see that, I'm a shady motherfucker, and I'm like, oh, that's Carlos's VIP buyer. Copy paste, input in
Mm-hmm.
the Podio. Thanks, Carlos. Guess what? I don't need to ever talk to you again because I got one of your best buyers now.
Yeah.
So, but when you double close, what happens is I go to Carlos, say I have this deal. Carlos sends me a contract at an agreed upon price, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
could still say we'll split the profit 50-50 if you want. But now he is going to go and sell it to John,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and I never get to see that anymore.
Got
So,
it.
John, I'm the A to B, right? And then you're
Mm-hmm.
the B to C.
Mm-hmm.
Does this make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
so
that
now,
makes sense.
effectively, since it's two separate transactions, title doesn't miscommunicate
Right.
because it's two separate transactions. I never see the HUD between you and Carlos because it's the B to C side. It's a separate transaction. I only see the deal, the HUD between the seller and me and Carlos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're starting to do that to separate their buyers from their JV people because people are being shady, man. And
Man,
it's
how much
fucked
do you
up.
think they're losing by doing that?
It depends. I mean, like I know with my JV partners, I mean, I brought numerous deals. I don't have in a lot of states. My goal is not to become a nationwide dispo team. Like that's
Right.
not. I have better shit to do. I'm trying to learn developing all kinds of stuff. I don't want to do that. So what if I bring you 5 deals? How much money, if I steal your buyer, does that make you lose?
Well, I was saying, how much money do you think they lose by double closing to compensate
How
for
much
this
money?
ethical issue?
Every title company is different. It could be anywhere from $1,200, $1,800. It just depends on, because you're paying, because usually on the front side you push all seller side costs to the buyer,
Right.
and you're covering all closing costs, title insurance. So a lot of times there needs to be two separate title insurance policies too, and that could cost money depending, and it all goes on the price of the home. Title insurance policies are based on price, so a 200K home is going to be more expensive closing costs than a 50K home. So you could go anywhere from, we'll just say, 1,000, $2,000 extra, right? I mean, it adds up. It adds up when you're doing 10, 20 deals a month. That could be
Oh
an
yeah.
extra 40 grand out of your pocket,
Yeah.
all because you got some shady people.
Oh man.
I feel like
That
I
sucks.
see the front side of that as well, where it's like where that's more of like a good long term unethical. Like the person being unethical, it's a better play for them because they have access to that buyer for perpetuity. Unless in that example, I talked to whoever and I was like, hey, this guy, went around me to you, don't do any business, he's shady. I would kind of have to like blacklist you from that buyer. But I feel like I've heard that a lot on the front end side of it. Like if you had a deal under contract with a seller in Lakeland in your market and John was another wholesaler in Lakeland, you're like, hey, I have this deal under contract, XYZ, I'm trying to move it. And John would go directly to the seller if you showed him the contract. Like I feel like that I've heard horror stories like that happen a lot. And that might, I don't know if that's more common. I mean, you know better than me, Papa P, but I feel like people do that. And I remember people doing that in Baltimore, actually, not to me, but I've heard that a ton of times when people doing that in Baltimore.
yeah.
Where they'll go
That
to the
happens.
seller and they're off them $500 or $1,000 more, or they'll just try to discredit that person.
Discredit them.
Someone tried that with a friend, yeah, because it was a younger guy that's insanely experienced and doing well with multifamily now, but it was an older guy, like a baby boomer guy that just went directly to the seller and was like, oh, you don't want to work with them, started trying to trash their character, which was completely false. just to get the one deal. So that's like very short-sighted, unethical.
That's the key word. Yeah, short-sighted. Well, they'll take it off. So the other shady thing that has happened, and it happened to us, I don't know, forever ago, taking it off of Facebook. Like, so you post it when you don't have a buyer per se. A lot of times you'll post it on Facebook. It's like your last ditch. Facebook is a lawless land of villains and goblins, right? But they'll take it, print it out, and go to the seller and say, "Listen, here's them advertising it right here. That's your picture, right? At your house. Here's the price. That's what they're trying to sell it for. I'll pay you $1 more. I'll pay you that. I'll pay it directly to you." So yeah, there's multiple ways. Either way, though, is short-sighted. When I was, and it's funny because I was reviewing that Dispo course, and me and him talk all the time, and we use this line, and I've used it for many years, right? Real estate, although is a big industry, it's a very, very small industry of who actually does business.
Agree with that.
So eventually, if you want to be somebody, that's going to get out.
Yeah.
And no one's going to want to work with you. And you may be able to slide by and work with some types of people, but you're never going to be a phenomenal. You're never going to be somebody that people look up to if that's the way you do business and you start to get those rumors. And that's just that. You got to be a go-giver. You got to be someone that helps out. One thing I was taught, there's plenty of money to go around and everyone's got to wet their beak a little. It's real estate. It's like the mafia. Everyone's got to wet their beak.
Is that a mafia terminology?
What is it? Goodfellas. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's got to wet their beak a little. You got to let everyone get a taste. And that's okay. When you're making 20 fucking grand on a deal, 30 grand, what the does it matter? You didn't do shit. You moved on to the next deal and you let your buddy dispo it. He deserves the fucking money. Who cares? And if you're upset, negotiate a better split.
Yeah. Don't be
I like
shady.
what Carlos said though, short-sighted.
Give your partners envelopes filled with cash when they're helpful, and let everybody get a piece of the pie.
Yeah. I mean, it pays off in the end. In ways that you won't even see. In ways you won't see today, because you'll be like, man, like I just did one, right? And it was, I don't know, what did we split like? It was like a 40K spread or something. So anyway, it was almost 20 grand a piece. It was a lot. And so two sides of that, you could say, wow, I just got a huge check, or damn.
He got a huge check.
Yeah, wow, I let that other guy make, almost like 18, 20 G's on me. Man, that would have been nice to have, but like, stop counting other people's pockets, dude. Like, you probably wouldn't have gotten that big of an assignment.
Right.
Like, there's no way, they only got that because of that relationship with that buyer.
Exactly.
That was their value add.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dispo and transactions management, if they're handling all of that, like, yeah, I know getting the deal and getting the contract takes a lot of work, but so does the other side too. So.
But who do you trust nowadays?
A good question. How do you determine that trust? I mean, so let's say, Brandon, you got a deal in Montana, and because I'm pretty sure you don't know anybody in Montana, but
I don't. But if I did get a deal in Montana, I'm not wholesaling it. I'm fucking moving out there.
That's right. Let's say you got a deal in the city, not your ranch, in Montana, and you had to go find somebody to dispo it to. What would be? How would you approach that? Like, are you going to go in thinking I had to protect myself? Like, what would you do?
So I've done it before. Not in Montana. I wish. Wish. Anybody listening has deals in Montana, send it to me. I'm looking for land. But I would always say this, and and I always defer to Carlos because he is a 10 times better networker than I am. Conferences. That's my number one. The people you meet, like, right, Carlos, you can really tell somebody, and you don't like everyone at conferences, but you could tell the people you mesh with by a 1 day, 2 day conference where you're going out to dinner with everybody, where you're spending all day in a room with somebody. You start to build those relationships. So when I do pick markets to go in, I generally ask myself, where's my support system? And who do I know? And that's a huge part. Now, if I didn't have that at all, I'm going to go back to my network And I did this one time when I entered a market, and I went to my network and I asked if they knew anybody they would trust and refer me to in that city. And I was bombarded with call this person. And then from there, it's all based on it's first person confirmation, essentially. It's first person confirmation is real easy, a real easy way to get people to like you for like charisma. If John says Carlos is cool, then my first instinct when I meet you, even if Carlos is a douchebag, I'm going to be like, he's cool. Because John told me I will ignore his douchebag tendencies because John told me this is a stand-up guy. Yeah. So generally, you get first-person confirmation from somebody.
Just for the record, Carlos is cool.
Just using an example, Carlos is like, the only real douchebag here would be me, but that's okay.
So don't go to Facebook is your recommendation.
Oh, hell no. Because everyone lies on Facebook, and that's a whole other thing on ethics. I don't really care who you are, but don't tell me, like, you ever see, like, let me post a deal. I'm looking for cash buyers, and every fucking wholesaler posted their ad. I didn't say I'm looking for wholesalers to JV with. I said I'm looking for cash buyers. Mm-hmm. Message me if you're a flipper. And so, like, with Parker, it was always hard to teach him when someone says, I'm a wholesaler and a flipper.
That reminds me a little bit. I was gonna say that reminds me a little bit of on Steve Trang's show. Apparently, like he had people like that would go on there because you don't really know. Like I've interviewed people for 4 years, and you like a lot of it is off social media. Like you just kind of see them, or if it's not someone that you know from Investor Fuse or like a warm handoff, like hey, this person's cool, you should check them out. Or a booking agent reaching out. That's like a small percentage of interviews that I've done at least. But I remember, I can't exactly remember when it was, but Steve Trang had an issue because people went on the show and were just like bullshitting, like it wasn't true what they were talking about. So since then, maybe a year or two roughly, he had them provide HUD statements. Like he's like, if you want to actually come on the show, like I need to see like your business actually doing, you know, what you're gonna say. It does. So I don't think that applies for like a networking sense or like trying to find people, but I don't know. Maybe call title companies in Montana for that example. If there are title companies in Montana, I don't know if it's just ranch and cattle out there. And
yeah, I mean, it also depends. Like, I can talk to somebody, and I know because I've been doing it. Like, so that doesn't. It's not good advice for somebody who's new. But like, it's almost like when you talk to a seller. And you can start to hear their bullshit about how they have all these offers or how good of condition. You do enough conversations, you start to tell bullshit. Yeah. And you can start to know if someone does business by the terms and the way they talk and the stories that they tell. Granted, a good liar can lie over everything, but these are just little ways to try to narrow down that war, that like, what do you call it? What do you call like a hot turnover, like a warm touch turnover type thing? You know, first person confirmation. Title companies are cool. Yeah. But yeah, dude, people fucking lie. That's pretty cool about Steve Trang, though. I didn't know that because yeah, I don't show my HUDs. I don't talk about things like that on social media. It always weirds me out when people do because like, how easy is that? Like, how do I even know?
Yeah, not public facing. He doesn't make you show him public facing, but just to him in private, I think.
Oh, and I believe, I would have no problem doing that either because if you have them, you have them.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. You just got to show a couple of them to prove that you know what you're doing. You know? I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting, though. Anyone, you've run into any other ethical situations other than the seller thing?
I mean, there's employee ethical issues. I think we kind of touched on those a little bit in the previous. Yeah. Have we talked about that? Can't remember.
Probably. I'm sure you guys have heard horror stories about people stealing. It's difficult to tell because like I was on a Facebook group yesterday and like so you have it from both sides where people were like, man, employees, like it's hard to keep a good employee, you know, and then you have it from the other side of a lot of people who have figured out the formula and they have employees that have lasted and they're like, no, you just got to do this and this. And I see both sides of it, right? I see somebody saying, because I've been on both sides. I have employees that have been with me for years and I have employees that have come, stolen, and gone. So it's like, yeah, there's a formula to keep good employees and not have them steal from you or try to compete with you. But I think it all comes down to the people. So I think it goes down to the hiring process.
Yeah.
The people.
Yep. I'm trying to think what are the other ethical. I mean, so I think the little snippets that I did catch from the Carrot Summit yesterday was more. It was kind of focused on don't screw a seller, like how to be ethical with a seller,
Yeah,
and
seller facing. Yeah.
um,
What?
yeah,
Yeah.
not cheat him out of money.
You know, a lot of people listen, Linda. A lot of people give us shit, and I stand by that. You should operate ethically. I don't condone any bad dealings, but nobody talks about how fucking shitty sellers are.
Mm.
Hmm.
That's interesting. All right, let's hear that.
I mean, I don't even need. There's no stories. There's a plethora of stories anybody in this industry could tell because it's a fucking game. So, for
Yeah.
example, we're doing a deal review with my team today because one of my new acquisition people got his first deal closed. He has multiple under contract. This was his first one where he's getting a big bonus, and we were reviewing it. And in the notes, it said good conditions, good multiple. Every person from the cold caller to him who have touched it, the notes there in investor views, right? We keep notes every time someone touches it. Good conditions, updated in the last 10 years, good conditions. So we pay him like X amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
We get out there. The fucking thing is like, it's like if here's the fucking pillar, it's like foundational issues. And I was doing this deal with a JV partner. He's like, how's the foundation? I'm like, bro, it's like good, man. Like the guy said nothing. We'll get pictures. I'll let you know. But this thing's in good shape according to the guy. Look at the pictures on Zillow. Phenomenal.
Uh-huh.
Get the photos back. The brick is like. And when I called the guy, you know what he fucking said? He goes, something like that. What is that going to cost you? A couple grand? I don't see why you need a new price. He was like, if you don't want it, you don't want it. I mean, I wanted it.
Right.
We ended up buying it because we found a buyer, but it's like, you mother. Like, you knew. He lives down the road. He knew. He lived on the same street as that house. So he knew, but he lied to us to get a higher price. Now, granted, what's all fair in love and war, like, I get it. We still made money. He made money, but he fucking lied.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what
So you didn't price negotiate for that?
We did price negotiate, but listen, man, I love all people. But Indian people are the hardest negotiators. They negotiate like fucking champions.
Who is?
Indian people.
Indian people?
It's to them it's like fucking badminton. It's a game. They just
cricket. I think it's cricket for them.
Cricket. They just fucking love it. And it's like a fucking they're just pawing you and messing with you the whole time. And I don't even understand how their economy functions. Like all they do is negotiate. I'm surprised any laws are passed over there because they just love to negotiate. And so he took me to the mats, bro. I got a reduction, but not what I wanted. He took me to the fucking mats.
Oh man, good for him. I mean, getting
Good for him.
Right? Yeah.
I think the moral of the story is we're talking about ethics, and I think it does work both sides. But yeah, I think you got to treat people right. But come on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all fair. It's not all lust all the time.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I felt a renegotiation was warranted given that you fucking lied.
Yeah. Yeah. Shouldn't lie about your property. I did see a post on Instagram the other day. It's like when your seller says that the house is good condition and it's a picture of just like crap.
Yeah. I've had him say there's a little fire and you walk in and like the ceiling, the
little fire.
Yeah.
There's probably a Will Smith, Chris Rock meme about that. That's maybe the most just how I don't know the last time I've seen a meme that was used more in the last week.
Yeah?
Whenever that.
Oh man.
You remember the Jay-Z jet ski one?
I don't remember that one.
That one was wild. That one went around where Jay-Z on a jet ski and he was like, "Oh, you don't remember that one? That was funny."
I haven't seen this one. I'm looking at pulling it up
It
now.
was like years ago. He was on vacation and people got him on a jet
He has like a helmet on.
Yeah, he's like Jay-Z. I mean, what can you say? The guy's rich as fuck and he's married to Beyonce, but like he's a funny looking dude. He's a funny looking motherfucker. And that meme was hilarious every time I see it. You know the other one,
yes,
Leonardo DiCaprio's meme from Django, when he's like,
oh yeah. That one I see a lot. Yeah. That one's good.
Yeah, that meme is complete vibes. That one I mesh well with that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Man, what were we just talking about?
ethics. We were talking about ethics, and then we started talking about.
Oh yeah, the sellers. Yeah, the
and
fire.
listen, guys, I know we're supposed to be talking real estate, but if I was selling Chris Rock a home right now,
Yeah.
and I was trying to make him my cash buyer, I'd go up to Chris Rock, and one of the questions for a cash buyer that I would ask is, how many deals have you done, and was this slap staged?
The question of the century, right?
I just feel like, what man slaps another man?
Yeah. Or do you think he like got up there and he's like, I can't punch him, so like that's too much.
Because if I'm gonna do anything, and I'm not saying I'm not taking sides, whatever, but if I'm gonna do something, I'm not bitch slapping you. I'm punching you.
Yeah.
He's in a low. He must be in a low place in his life. I don't know. I don't stay up to date with that stuff, but apparently his wife had some type of thing. My main takeaway, I think it was Sunday night, because I saw it on on Eric Andre's Instagram, and I was just watching, about to go to bed, and it said his posted uncensored, and I was like, I wonder what this is.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like, I had to rewatch it. I was like, is this real?
Uh-huh.
But Chris Rock, he would be fantastic in any human-facing job. Obviously, he's a comedian. My biggest takeaway is that he was like played that amazing.
Yeah.
Like he was like shocked, but
took it like a man. Took it like, and I think more guys need to look to that and say that's how you take it like a fucking man. I feel like in today's society, everybody should be punched in their face every once in a while and have to take it like a man and not go cry and sue somebody. I think as society, we as men would be much better off if everyone. My dad said that you got to be punched in your face once to just understand your own bullshit and to be a man. A man's not a man if you don't get punched. And you really check yourself before you start talking shit again.
Well, John. Luckily, John and I don't talk a lot of shit. I'm assuming John hasn't been punched in the face either, but
can't say I've been punched in the face.
Your entire childhood, you've never been punched in the face?
I guess childhood, yeah. I mean, like hit.
I never said that would be your adult life. John, I got you, bro. Say no more, fam. I got you.
Great, appreciate this.
And that's all I'm saying is like he took it like a man. He didn't need to be anything. He didn't press a lawsuit. I think, and then I heard people talking about lawsuits. Why does everyone have to sue everybody? What does that even mean? Why can't? And it boggles my mind. Why can't people? Again, I don't mean wildly throwing punches, but why can't two people get into a fight without there having to be something after that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I guess I more so am referring to specifically like just his mental wiring, because like that's such a shocking thing of like giving a presentation in a huge event. Like I'm more so impressed by just his initial, like he was shocked and like could have went into fight or flight. Yeah. I don't know. It was impressive. And I saw yesterday that he's been getting like standing ovations, where he's had a couple things where he's on stage again or somewhere. Yeah. And he's been getting standing ovations from people. So I was pumped to see that. But yeah, bringing that up just because that's the biggest. Even all the real estate people obviously are posting that multiple times this entire week.
Well, you get the two sides of it. Either you're posting and making fun of it, or you're the dude posting about other people, what a piece of shit you are for posting it, and how you should be focusing on your family and your money.
Uh-huh.
You know, you get one or the other. I saw that today, and I was like, thanks for making me feel like a piece of shit, man.
Everybody's allowed to have a little enjoyment.
Yeah. But, you know, that's just that. You got this. You would definitely do it. I would use this slap hand right here if I was doing it. Slap him.
What about the bat? You can use the baseball bat.
Yeah, or the baseball
bat. I don't know if that's a slap.
Do you remember these from school?
Oh, my kids still get them every time they go to the dentist.
Bruh, I took this from my son.
There you go, see? Did he get it from the dentist?
Yeah. No, not the dentist. He got it from school.
Okay.
I told the little son of a gun, I said, don't hit me with that. So you know what he did? He keeps coming up to me and he goes, and he would fake hit me. And I was trying to move materials for a house, so I'm like sweating, and he's coming up and he's running around the truck trying to hit me, and I go, you know what? Come here. Parent tax. Give it to me. It's mine now. He goes, I didn't hit you. I said, you didn't, but parent tax. And parent tax in my house means I'm teaching you how the government takes all your shit. Anytime I call parent tax, I could take anything of yours I want, and there's nothing that you could do. So like on my desk, I got like all kinds of like things that I just take from them, and they think I throw them out, but I don't. I take them and I play with them.
Parent tax. That's hilarious.
Yeah, parent tax, bro. Parent tax. Use it. You're welcome to the audience. Every time they get food, like we go into Publix, they get a cookie. Parent tax depending on your age, it's either a quarter to half of the cookie. If you're young, you got to give me half of it. If you're my teenage daughter, you only got to give me a quarter of it. Either way, it's a tax on the goods that you've received.
That's funny. I like that.
life
I'm
lesson.
definitely going to start parent taxing my
Parent
children.
tax, bro. Yeah, parent tax.
I like that.
That should be a thing. Teach our kids young.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them young.
Yeah.
So how's the nootropic kicking in?
Obviously, Magic Mind helps your mind be magical, happy, calm, energy, and focus. Magic Mind. It's actually pretty good. So it has matcha. I can't pronunciate this word. Something with mushrooms, nootropics, and honey because honey makes you happy. But supposedly, like, it's a daily shot that you take
Yeah.
instead of coffee because I'm trying to get off the multiple espressos a day thing. So Instagram has got me. So I've tried. Carlos, what is Aubrey Marcus's one that he has?
Alpha Brain.
Alpha Brain. I've tried Alpha Brain. I've tried Modafinil. I've tried all variations of nootropics, stacks, and like they've never really like done anything. So now I'm trying Magic Mind. I got mud water. Did you guys try nootropic? Do you guys try any of this type of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Carlos,
I've not.
No? Carlos, what do you do?
Alpha Brain, I tried. I could go back and look specifically. It was when I was in, gosh, when I was at the first. So I guess it was Q3. I did a cycle of Alpha Brain Q3 2019. It's supposed to, and again, my basis of anything, nutrition, nootropics, fasting, even like whatever you really deeply believe to a conviction of how it's going to work for you. Like, I think that's kind of like 80-90% of what ends up happening. Like, I see this so much with, placebo effect. Like, I see it so much with like nutrition. Like, people that watch vegan documentaries and then go vegan and match whatever they think is the best thing. They're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. It could be that, carnivore. So I think that's the basis for anything, nutrition, nootropics, fasting, whatever type of biohacking you want to do. But I did a cycle of Alpha Brain. I think it was Q3 of 2019 because I was in Sedona at the time, and I thought that it helps with word recognition. Like even in a live impromptu conversation like this, it kind of helps you structure your words better. I didn't feel necessarily like a lot of energy from it, but I definitely felt something different working. I didn't feel well. Like I was taking it when I was in Arizona, and I kind of just stopped. I didn't have a big enough I didn't have a hell yeah reaction towards the end of it, and I got a little sick in Arizona leaving Sedona going to Phoenix. I don't know if it was just because I was leaving this like massive energy vortex in Sedona and then like going somewhere else and traveling, but I didn't like feel great from it, but feel great at that point. But so I wasn't like, I'm not going to do it. But I know a lot of people that take Alpha Brain and enjoy it. I would dabble potentially with another like quarter cycle of it. But you definitely feel something. Like it's not like a kick of energy, like a pre-workout or an espresso or something. But you definitely feel your brain working a little bit differently. Like kind of similarly, how you can feel like you can just feel your brain working differently once you get into ketosis versus like your body using like glycogen. So personally, my favorite thing for nootropics or productivity is like in like a day, potentially what you're using it for. I have espresso every day, but I absolutely love like fasting, like just water, just like lemon water and salt to start the day. My brain just seems to work differently, and again, like to my own point, that could be potentially from watching a lot of fasting stuff.
I believe placebo plays a huge part of it. We all know that kid who smoked oregano in high school and thought they got high, but you know, it wasn't me. I swear, it wasn't me. No, I know what you mean, and it's not a physical. So like a lot of times with nootropics, people get confused because they're so used to caffeine, where caffeine gives them like this jittery body feeling. Like nootropics is more of a. That's why on my post I was talking about like mental energy. It's a completely different thing because you do feel as if your brain is functioning differently. And again, the more you do it. So when I did cycles, I did a couple months, and you take a day or two off in between. So like I didn't do it like Sundays, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not working Sundays. But like you start to feel that mental energy, but I could never, like some of them just didn't work for me. either it's the way you feel after the headaches or something. So everyone's got to find like their own stack, I guess. But yeah, fasting, I stand by fasting. Fasting, I do intermittent fasting as well. And I've done it on and off. Are you doing it right now, Carlos?
So it depends what people, I'm not technically fasted right now. And it's funny because I listen to a good podcast. It's a popular guy, Max, I don't know how to pronounce it, Max Lugavere on Ed Milet's podcast. It's his latest podcast. But that even influenced some stuff I got at the grocery store. So for right now, I had, in my espresso so far, I've had heavy cream, collagen, vanilla collagen, and MCT powder. But that's all I've had for today.
So you're that's like the, I have some like over here. That's like the bulletproof stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. I like that because that kind of keeps you like, and some days I'll do it just straight black coffee, and I'm probably a little bit more productive, but I don't know. I feel like this might keep me a little bit more like satiated, and maybe it stabilizes, because one of the benefits of MCT, they say, is it kind of stabilizes the caffeine reaction that you have. So instead of like a huge burst of energy and then kind of like a crash, it kind of just like even keels that caffeine, like the actual effects that you feel from it.
They put that in the pre-made bulletproof coffees, right? When you buy like the little like paper, right? That comes in that already.
Yeah, John and I usually just like doctor our own. But again, like if I bought MCT, like I bought MCT powder, and because it's just a little bit cleaner to make it, and I bought MCT oil, C8 MCT oil. So even though I bought that just for my new place, because this is kind of the first. This past like couple weeks is the first time where I actually started getting like bigger grocery hauls, just because I'm going to be in Miami without traveling. Knock on wood. So it would probably benefit me to that point again if I watch like a 5-minute YouTube on how MCT oil helps with your mental productivity or mental focus throughout the day, and then I'll hear that and I'll be like, oh, that's cool. But like on a podcast yesterday, I've heard this guy a few times where he kind of talks about the benefits of. He talks about a lot of stuff, but his favorite food compound for like brain health is olive oil and fish. And I like him
Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, like a Mediterranean. And I like him.
Omegas, man.
Yeah, and I like him because he said yesterday, he's like, look, you don't need to be a snob with like the quality of your foods. Like if you're eating non-processed food in general, like you don't need to have grass-fed steak every single meal. Like if you go to a restaurant and it's a steak, a regular steak, like that's still an adequate source of protein. Same with fish. It doesn't need to be wild caught, organic every single time. Like if you're getting salmon from a restaurant or a place like that, like you're still getting adequate protein, still getting adequate fat to your brain. So I like that because most people are like, oh, if you don't eat grass-fed, like you're going to get cancer or like something crazy like that. But he was a cool podcast, and then that ended up, I was like, you know what, I'm going to get some heavy cream when I went to Target last night to get groceries because he does that in his coffee in the morning. Because I like the taste, it's a little bit of fat, like I'm probably not going to be hungry until like 5 or 6 o'clock tonight. But that's a good example of like whatever you kind of listen to. Like I think people can get a little bit more intentional of if you want to accomplish something or if you want to do something, listen to some podcasts that give you like recency bias on that. And then you'll just kind of like gravitate more towards
recency bias. Can we explain recency bias, please?
We should explain bias in general, but recency bias is like that. Like I listened to a podcast yesterday. It's kind of like a cognitive bias, like a mental bias that you have of just what you've like ingested more recently than what you've heard in the past. So like the podcast, like a small example of that yesterday is I listened to this dude's podcast, which I've heard him before, but Ed Milet was my top listened to podcast last year. And I heard him talking about the benefits of fish, which I already have stocked up in my freezer, olive oil, and he likes to have heavy cream in his coffee. So typically, since I've been getting groceries here for 3-ish weeks, I haven't got heavy cream. I'm like, I'll just use my fat with MCT and collagen and stuff like that. But then I got some yesterday because I'm out of milk. I'm hosting some friends from Chicago. I can make them good cafe con leches, like Cuban coffees here.
Oh, yeah.
But a super small...
Yeah, because you're in Miami. You get the good stuff.
I am. I gotta be in Miami. But I've had espresso because my mom's Cuban, born in Miami, came to Cuba, and then bounced around a lot. But yeah, that's like a very, very small example of like you can listen to podcasts or whatever you choose to do on YouTube. Like intentionally go for stuff that supports the claim of whatever you want to do, and you'll kind of just do it automatically. Like you're being more inclined to do it like automatically, but then also it'll just like work better for you. And everybody should have an emphasis on their nutrition and health, which you're kind of seeing in this new wave of entrepreneurship and even real estate investors. Like everybody's posting their workouts and saying how important it is and everything like that. So everybody should have some type of level of accountability. You don't need to track macros or do 75 hard or do anything like crazy, but just some type of awareness.
That is caught on very, very huge. I've never done it myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
what you're talking about though, man, with your bias and adding that in. It goes down to talking about that your mind is your biggest asset.
Mm-hmm.
Mind is your biggest asset. What you put in there, what you feed it, what you're thinking about, what you're doing. I'm still battling that every day. I don't have it figured out. It is something. I have ADD, and it is something that I constantly am trying. One of the many things trying to work on. What you put into your mind, what you say subconsciously, what you're watching, the biasness you're creating from what you're watching, how it affects you, the things that you say, and how those end up with affecting the results of whatever, like Carlos was saying, whatever you're trying to do or achieve, like your goals, right? Like whatever it is you're thinking, whether it's taking something, doing something. Yeah, it's something I still struggle trying to do. You got any good tips? Any good things to watch?
That's my favorite topic in the world to talk about, like auto-suggestion and pretty much self-automation.
Yeah.
Like we have Investor Fuse, like that's automating like a lot of your sales process and capturing your marketing and stuff like that. But it's funny and interesting for me, at least, like that's the business that I'm in or the company that's like what we do as a company. But the thing I'm most interested in is self-automation, like how you can do that for your own brain and mind. Yeah, that could be a whole episode. I'm going to tease that out for next week and do a little let's talk real estate auto suggestion / subconscious mind programming. That'd be fun.
I feel like, and sorry, I was making a post to Instagram because I feel like I was doing where you're saying let's talk real estate. We need to add a plus and stuff
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I would actually love to refocus. I know we always got to talk real estate because real estate is probably the best industry to generate wealth, and we haven't even scratched the surface on our podcast. Right now, we're talking about things that happen on the daily. But yes, next to real estate generating wealth, your mind and your health play a huge part in your ability to generate that. And I wish somebody would have told me that when I was like 25 years old. I
don't think, it just takes time to. I've had that same thought process, right? Where like, man, I wish what I know now I would have known when I was 25. But I think there's a certain level, like I know that there's people out there that can do it when they're 22, 23, but maybe this is just like me trying to not be regretful of how I treated my life, not that it was horrible or anything.
Well, but it's got to be where you're at, right? And
it just takes wisdom and experience, and you learn what the bigger priorities are in your life and where you want to spend your time. I saw a funny post yesterday. Alex Hormozy posted on his Twitter's like, we need to stop saying 50 is middle-aged, and then he did a calculation on what's the average lifespan of the average male in the United States, and it's 76. So he's like, we really need to be talking about 36, 37 being the middle of your life.
Wow, so middle-aged?
I know, that's what
I saw that too.
Being 34 on Monday, I'm like, geez, really coming up on that quick.
Listen, if there is a way to figure out how to extend my life, I will be the first person to throw my hat into the bucket. David
Sinclair, have you heard of him, Carlos?
I know the name. What is that? What's
David Sinclair? He is a researcher out of Harvard, I want to say, and he has been studying longevity. That's his entire career has been how can we lengthen our lifespan.
Yeah.
And so he did a podcast series, and I think it's only released 7 episodes, and all of them are about how to extend your lifespan. And he focuses on a different subject each one. So like diet, things that you can take as supplements, exercise, sleep, so on and so forth. It's really good. I've listened to them all. I have not yet to implement any of them, but what he does talk about is fasting. So he's cut down to just one meal a day because when you fast, your body starts to re like it can reproduce cells better, and just like it cleans up. And I mean, he's explains it way
Fasting
better
helps
than
keep my life longer.
correct.
I've seen this
100%.
guy.
It
I'm
is
down
proven
for
by
that.
science that
Yeah,
fasting
so
makes you live longer.
Yeah, literally, Brandon, like perfect example for me in the past, because my buddy that's here, he's up in Fort Lauderdale right now, but he's heading back down to my place. Long-time investor fuse guy, just awesome dude, huge into self-storage now. But I've been talking with him for years, and I used to think it was crazy for people doing multiple day fasts, like literally not eating any calories, just coffee, water. So I was like, I would never do that. And then I just started becoming like in love with that like 3-4 years ago, doing multiple day fasts. But you have to build your tolerance up, and then you can also watch fasting documentaries. Like if you go on Amazon and watch, like if you see someone that fasts under like medical supervision for 60 days, that
So
puts
it's
it in
like they were
perspective.
curing
You're like,
cancer and shit with that.
yeah,
Oh,
it's like
documentary.
okay, I can do. You're like I can do 72 hours if this person is doing 60 days just drinking water. But I think that's applicable for everything in life. It goes into a lot of different parallels. I just like giving small examples of that.
No, I'm down for that. Like I saw a documentary regarding that where like you go on a medical induced fast where you're like medical supervised fast. You go to a medical facility, you fast, and I forget what it was exactly, what form of disease it was, but it was curing them. I mean, that was what really sold me because this was a huge, like fasting was this huge thing, a couple years ago, it started to really hit mainstream.
Yeah.
And I was very skeptical because I never understood the difference between fasting and just starving. Like, I skip breakfast. Like, that's fasting. Like, it took a while to understand the difference between. I try to explain that to my daughter too because she thinks she fasts. I'm like, you're not fasting because you're drinking soda and juices. Like, that's not. I said, all you're doing is jacking up your insulin levels.
Yeah.
But that's interesting though. Yeah, I think so. If that helps create longer lives by fasting, I'm pretty sure I'm going to 100, 105.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because I want to be one of those people when I'm 100 years old that I'm moving.
That's exactly what I think. That's
I don't want to
exactly
be in a
see
bed.
my
I
life.
don't want to have a cane.
No.
Maybe a cane where I'm like limping, I'm walking, but I'm still moving, walking around in my ranch in Montana, shooting shit. Yeah, I could see that. I could see myself shooting guns at 105 on my ranch in Montana, trying to still cold call sellers and wholesale some property. I see that happening. Yeah,
I
running
like
the
it.
sales team, talking about back in my day.
Yep.
Brandon, where are you at? Is Lakeland on like is that east side of Florida or is that on the west side of Florida?
West.
Smack in the center?
It's like Orlando and Tampa, and then you pass through Lakeland.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle. I'm like literally in the middle of the state, down I-4 corridor.
Because I'm looking, I just saw a post. There's actually a free networking event. Okay, so you're closer to Tampa than Miami area, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would take me like 3 hours to get to Miami.
There is I saw it right before this, and Mark Evans is like one of my favorite people. I know we brought him up on the store, or the show. But they are having a meetup in, I guess there's another Lakeland, because I looked at it, it's only an hour and a half away from me, in a couple weeks for free with Mark Evans at the golf and country club that he's always at. So I think I'm going to try to check that out.
There's another Lakeland in Florida.
There's not another. I wasn't going to say
think
that.
so.
There's not another.
Let me
Lakeland.
see.
There's another Lakeland in like Germany or something, in another country, Norway or something. Because I get that on Instagram because I follow the hashtag. But yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, let me see where this is at. Maybe it is closer to you.
Well,
but
if you're talking about Mark, he lives over in Lauderdale Lakes. Lauderdale, like the Palm Beaches area, right? Doesn't he live down in Lauderdale Lakes, Palm Beach, somewhere Wellington, all up in that coast area over there where all the rich people live?
okay,
Lots
so
of rich
he's
people
probably
in
he's probably a little bit north of me, but yeah, I think I'm gonna check this out if it's close to me. Would be just pumped to see that.
Okay. I think this was a successful conversation. And John, I'm throwing this out there. Let's talk real estate and stuff.
And stuff. Yeah. Maybe that should just be like our tagline. I had, what was my problem? I had a calf strain a couple weeks ago, or a month ago, and I was like Googling, YouTubing it, and there's these physical therapists that come up, and they start every single video funnily, and they go, the most famous physical therapist on the internet, something something. So I was like, maybe we need like a tagline that we start every live stream with. Let's talk real estate and stuff.
And stuff. Papa P! Yeah. Papa P's talking about stuff. Well, actually, I wasn't. That was mostly Carlos. But yeah, we got you.
Oh, I keep saying Carlos should be starting his own mastermind and how to biohack your brain, because the man knows more than about 5 other human beings on how to do it.
I will keep you updated on this. This is day 1. I also, and we can talk another time, but I also bought Take Thesis, where they develop your own personal nootropic stack. So in that, you have to keep a journal, test out what each one does to you, and then you send it back to them, and they kind of curate your own nootropic stack. But I can't do all these together. So individually, I'm trying a little bit over here, and then I'll start that probably in another week or 2. But I just wanted to see what these 2 did, kind of go from there. I'll keep you updated. But Magic Mind had a magical show today. With Magic Mind.
Yeah.
Don't know if there's an affiliate code of Magic. What's hashtag at Magic Mind? Let me know. Magical day. All right, guys.
Awesome. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Like a
Love
move.
it. Happy early birthday, John.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What? The whole time we didn't know?
It's on Monday. I mentioned it early, really quickly.
Still, he's getting fucking old.
I am getting old.
Like a love, guys.
See you guys.
See you guys.